No, come in with your hot take about fucking. You think Kirk Cousins is top 5 quarterback? That's
That's
how you
not
start this.
no. I did not rank Cousins 5. I have Cousins below. I have
We're at
Cousins.
6.
All right, but yes, we are here to make the definitive top 15 quarterback list, Terrell. That's what we're here for. We're here for this top 15 quarterback list in the NFL. We have some criteria, I think, for this bad boy. And the whole package. We're taking all this into account, leadership, X factor, and it's who do we want to be the quarterback next year for us. I think we can say some fair things. I feel like all these top 15 quarterbacks can get you to the playoffs. They can win you games. Anybody less than that, it kind of feels like they're probably going to lose you a game. I really don't think anybody outside of the top 15 is beating somebody in the top 15 in the playoffs without something drastic happening. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that. I'm trying to think if I'm missing. I'm currently looking to see if we can miss somebody. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I know Watson is a big X factor here. We don't have him on the list currently. We can talk about where we could put him where we would fit him in. Maybe I know most people didn't put him on their list. I outsourced to like 10, 15 people this list. They gave me their rankings. I averaged them out. So I have like a base list to go off. You and me are going to hammer this out, come down with our definitive top 15. So 15 on this list. This feels like the most open spot here. The outsourced list says Matt Ryan. I'm okay with that. Mac Jones was the 16th ranked quarterback, so he was the first one off the list. I feel like this is the most wide open spot, though. We could plug in literally anybody next year could be your next guy.
Yeah, I mean, the way Jared Goff ended the year, godly, he might make a run for this 15th spot, to be honest with you.
Goff, I know Goff is ranked so low. I'm thinking Trevor Lawrence could take a next step. Zach Wilson in New York, you never.
Any of those young quarterbacks could take a next step.
Even Mac Jones could take the next step. Justin, I don't know about Justin Fields. I think.
Oh my gosh, no, don't.
I think he's a little bit lower. I at least liked what I saw. Well, Trevor has all the talent. I didn't like what I saw out of Trevor, but he's got the talent. I liked what I saw out of Zach Wilson the last 5 games of the season when he came back from that injury. Really good. Didn't turn.
You're not starting the podcast off well for me.
What? Okay.
Justin Fields slander is not like dude played pretty good. All things.
Oh no, he was. I mean, no, he was terrible against the worst defense in football. So that's where I'm gonna go with that.
All right. Okay.
So easily. So are we okay? We'll plug Matt. You want to plug Matt Ryan in at 15? Former MVP. Seems to be regressing. He is a $48 million cap hit next year, the highest cap hit in NFL history. So that's suspect.
Well, are we plugging Deshaun in? Because if we're plugging,
I'm keeping Deshaun off the list because like 95% of people didn't put him on the list.
So they should have though. The best top, like we're talking top 15 quarterbacks. Deshaun needs to be on this list.
Not if he's not playing. I think people don't think he's playing next year.
At very minimum. Yeah, I guess.
I think 15. Okay, we want to plug Deshaun Watson at 15. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, Matt Ryan doesn't make me excited about anything, to be honest with you.
That's fair. Jameis Winston was also there, but you never know. Coming off his ACL, that's another big question.
I can get behind Jameis.
I'm okay with putting Watson 15. That's where a couple people had him ranked. A couple people had him 15. I think 2 people had him 15 and 1 person had him 10. So I'm okay with 15, just because you're probably only getting half a season from Watson.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's a good one.
To put it.
All right, number 14. I think this is an easy one. We both agree on Jimmy G here. He's 4-2 in the playoffs. That's really nice. I like that. I like 4-2 in the playoffs. Hasn't really wowed anything. He gets the job done, goes on nice drives. He won that Green Bay game in Lambeau, went on a drive, didn't do anything all game, but he got him in field goal range to win that game. But goddamn, it feels like he's lost them a Super Bowl and he lost them the NFC Championship game this year.
Yeah, maybe. I think we're kind of down on Jimmy G. I think he was pretty solid this year. I would say Tannehill's more like 14 to me than Jimmy G.
Okay.
What are your thoughts there? Tannehill looked really bad in his playoff game. I don't want to take just 1 year from example, but Jimmy G in all the games at least gave his team like not saying that Tannehill gives his team a fighting chance, but Jimmy G at least kept his team around and
I
all the other stuff. But I
both
just,
guys do make plays. You
yeah,
could say that. We saw moments. It just felt like Jimmy G really regressed in the playoffs. But then again, maybe Tannehill coming off a bye, he wasn't great. That last pick was the killer for Tannehill in that Bengals game because he was looking good in the. He had a really good fourth quarter up until that
I
point.
mean, to be completely honest with you, I think after watching this year, if I were to go in a playoff game, I'd much rather have Jimmy G than Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, so we're gonna go.
I
I'm
I
okay with
feel
that.
yeah, I feel like not like great about it. I'm not saying like
You're
a
good.
lot of statements, but like if I had to pick one, I think I need Jimmy G,
Oh,
or whatever. So that's that. I know he should have. Well, as with Stafford, they should have lost in the divisional round, but or like Jimmy G was an interception away from being in the Super Bowl too as well. I mean, if Taft
I
make the
mean,
interception, they're in the Super Bowl.
that's. I mean, maybe potentially that game was a little bit closer
Potentially.
than everybody remembers, but it would have put him in a really. The Rams' backs would have really been against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, and going into Lambeau beating Rodgers, I mean,
Well,
that's got to what?
Rodgers was pathetic in that game. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
but still, I mean, it's not his fault. It's not
No,
Jimmy G's fault.
that's a good
Rodgers
win,
played
but
horrible.
he
Yeah,
gets docked for me for missing that throw in that Super Bowl and blowing a 10-point second half lead. Like that's a big dock for me. Can't miss
yeah,
that
but
throw.
okay, fair enough. But I think he's over Ryan Tannehill. To be honest
Okay,
with you,
so we'll go Tannehill 14, Jimmy G 13.
I mean, maybe now we're talking. Now we got. I know I'm
You're.
gonna jump ahead, but Derek Carr, I'm like, I
Oh
don't
no,
know. No,
no, Derek
okay.
Carr. Derek Carr makes plays. I trust Derek Carr to make big plays in big spots with his arm
Yeah, you
and his
throw
running. I
the
don't
ball
trust.
down the field to hope for a PI. Yeah, I guess
No,
that's what you're
what do
hoping
you
for.
mean? He converted. What about that 3rd and 23 he converted against Indianapolis on the
Okay, yeah,
run?
I'll give you that.
Dot. And it's
Yeah,
not like his receivers are any good. Jimmy G's got the benefit of throwing a great receiver. So does Tannehill. Derek Carr's throwing to nobody. I mean, he's got Waller, but Waller's been banged up a lot.
Renfro is pretty nice.
Yeah, but he's picking you up like 4 or 5 a pop. It's not like he's going down the field on
Yeah,
everybody.
he feeds you 4 or 5 of a pop, but his yak's pretty nice too. I mean, okay, I'll settle with Jimmy G at 13.
Okay, well,
That's fine.
yeah. So let's Renfro does not compare to Debo, I don't think, or I mean, he's probably a little bit better than Ayuk. As from a
Nah, eh.
yeah, not even
Consistency standpoint, consistency standpoint, yes. I mean, I'm Renfro, yeah, for sure.
so I'm selling you Derek Carr better than Jimmy G now on this with his just from what he's got to deal
Yeah, I
with.
guess if you put Derek Carr in the 49ers offense, and
Oh God, they're a problem. And we're taking
yeah,
everything. He has to get massive points for his leadership qualities after what they dealt with this year. I mean, it was a disaster this year. And
that's
they
true.
made the playoffs. I know I would have liked.
Also, well, yeah, but Jimmy G's got to get massive points too for dealing all this. Like you going into a year knowing that you're just as like your last year, and they've drafted someone behind you, like, hey, still, can you win us, win us these playoff games? I mean, just being like a professional about it all. So like, those are some points there too. He could have been like, screw you guys, you want me out of here or
But
whatever. I don't know.
he got him to the NFC Championship of the game, and they said still
Yeah,
take a. And we know, I mean, I don't think anybody's really that sold on Trey Lance either, and they're telling Jimmy G to take a hike because they know, like,
yeah, like being like professional like that and like still commanding the team and all that stuff. Like, I think guys really do like Jimmy G. I mean, from what I can tell.
well,
But yeah, I'm
but
cool with 13 there.
yeah, okay, so 13, and then now we going into like this next tier of quarterbacks here. We kind of got like 4 quarterbacks in this tier. I think everyone kind of tiered this thing out essentially, and I think that's usually how we do these things. In the NFL. So I'll go Carr 12. I know you're gonna have some pushback there on this because I know you think I feel like you want to put him higher than 12.
Carr?
Yeah, Carr.
I do like him. I really do, especially seeing him twice a year. I mean, it's not the greatest thing anymore, to be
Well,
honest with
hold
you.
up.
But
Hold up. You saw him twice a year this year. Put up like what 6 points in 2 games.
yeah, I mean, the Chiefs came to play those 2 games. But
uh,
like, I mean, I've seen him twice a year for like the last couple of years, and they've always gave us a run for our money. Like, he's taking it always down to like the wire or whatever. So
I feel like that's 95% of division games for everybody against every
yeah,
team.
that's true. That's true. But like Denver, like,
Yeah, that's
you know what I
fair.
mean?
Well, Denver doesn't even have a
If,
quarterback. I mean, these are
yeah,
he's clearly on the list. Denver hasn't had a quarterback on the list. That's clear, I
like
think.
if you, I think a lot of people are happy. Like Indianapolis happy to take Derek Carr, Tampa Bay is happy to take Derek Carr. Like like all these teams who need a quarterback. Like I think even the Washington football team is happy to take Derek Carr. So I mean,
Well,
I
yes,
think Derek Carr
everybody who
is
doesn't have a quarterback on this list is happy to
we
take.
would just have to take her. So like it's not like a situation was like last year, like where like golf was for sale, and be like,
Yeah,
maybe not, like whatever, like throw a first rounder with them, we'll take them. It's more like, yo, yeah, I absolutely take Derek Carr, or
but I
whatever.
could say the
So
same thing about Cousins. I mean, everybody would take Cousins. There's already talk. Everybody wants to take Cousins off of this list.
yeah, I'll give you Carr 12, Cousins 11, and then we can go there.
Okay, so we'll
But
go.
you got Cousins higher though.
I have Cousins higher. Okay. I just obviously I have slight homer bias, but if
Like
you've
nothing.
learned anything about the Minnesota Vikings fan base, it's a very split faction of people who think Cousins is God and people who think Cousins is a bottom 5 quarterback. And there is no in between it's so insane. So I'm the most measurable Vikings fan in the world, I feel like, cuz I'm not into either of those two camps. Cousins definitely has his flaws, but there's a lot more flaws on it's you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Romo. Remember when Romo dragged those corpses of a Cowboy team to like 8-8, 7-9, and we'd shit on the Cowboys for being that. But if you really go back and think about it, those Cowboy teams probably were like 4 or 5 win teams. And that's what Cousins. I mean, he's had the worst defense in football the last 2 seasons. Historically, the worst 2-minute defenses in any half. They broke their own record. They set the record in 2020 and then broke the record in 2021, their own record in 2021. So when you're dealing with that, I mean, your record's going to be, 500. I just like him. Won a road playoff game. Like I said, if the Vikings defense didn't give up any points inside of 2 minutes of the first half, they would have won 12 games this year. Just the first half, not even the end of the game, because, happens all the time at the end of the game. How about you just be competent inside the first half? They're a 12-win team. So that's why I think Cousins gets docked by the team he carries more than anything. I have him at like 7 or 8, but I'm okay with putting Cousins 11 here if you want.
I mean, you know how I feel about Cousins. I think he's a good quarterback. I do not think he is as high as you have him. He's solid. Would I pick him up in fantasy league? Probably, but
I floor his
he's
numbers floor people. I have to people's perception
no,
of his
I
numbers.
know you tell me his numbers all the time, and like I got his numbers are great, but like there's a lot of quarterbacks who have horrible defense, and they somehow figure out a way to figure it out, and
They don't have
that's
the
just it.
worst
But like,
defense.
so I mean, yeah, but still horrible, just as bad. I mean,
Well,
Mahomes' defense is just as bad.
no, they're not.
Chiefs defense is
The
still
Chiefs
horrible.
defense is nowhere close to as bad as the Vikings
Horrible.
defense or the
It's
offensive
horrible.
line. The Chiefs offensive line. Cousins has a bottom.
This year,
Cousins
they
offensive
got better
line
this year.
is off.
They
Yeah.
weren't good.
Well, they were
They
good
weren't good.
until the injury before the Super Bowl. Like they were fine. They were good when they won the Super Bowl, and they were fine going
They're
into it.
okay. They're okay.
Minnesota's pass defense is like bottom 3, and that's a problem for a guy who can't move. I mean, we're putting Cousins here. He ain't Mahomes. I think that's pretty obvious. He ain't Mahomes.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Mahomes is special.
Yeah, Mahomes is special. I mean, okay, I'll give you that, but I still like Cousins. The highest I could give you is 10, maybe. That's
okay.
stretch.
That's fine. I think I would take him over Dak, but that's because I like throwing the football downfield, and I think he has a much better arm than Dak. And the Cowboy fans will rally around that. So we have the next 2 here. We have 10 and 9 are 2 guys that are interesting. It's very interesting. I think we differ on these 2 right here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're talking Kyler and Dak, right?
Mm-hmm.
10 and 9. I don't know why I like Dak so much, but I do.
he
Yeah,
just
I want to see guy lead. Like, there's no nonsense BS with Dak. Like, yeah, like you're upset about like imagine the Cowboys like having to deal with this Kyler situation. Like, they would be annoyed. They'd be so annoyed. Like, get him out of here. Yeah, yeah, this and then. Like, yeah, you're upset about Dak and didn't get you playoff wins and blah blah blah. But like, imagine not getting playoff wins and you have like a prima donna quarterback. Like,
uh, and it's the Cowboys, so he'd be even more of a
yeah,
prima donna as the Cowboys
yeah,
quarterback.
exactly. I mean, to be honest, I think that like Dak's the perfect Cowboy quarterback. To be honest, with to deal with everything and like how to channel it and like hold it all in and like deal with like everything he deals with and everything. I think he's like
He's a perfect
he can.
personality.
Yeah, the perfect personality for the Cowboys, and I think anybody else is like either one probably crumbling in the pressure or like
Uh,
maybe they exceed in their pressure, but other people are just like,
I
I
can
hate
think
this.
of I can think of a few other guys higher up on this list that would
Yeah,
probably
but
be
obviously
good.
that the high guys, they're like 1 through 5, like doesn't matter where they're gonna be. Those guys are gonna be fine, like no matter where. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you probably
We're talking about the middle.
unless you're Aaron Rodgers, who you're mad about everything all the time. At all
Yeah, that's true.
um, so
I'm
okay,
you can talk me either way. Like I can see the future with Kyler, and I can also see like the consistency with Dak. I think that's what Dak is. You just get like he isn't like he can obviously sometimes wow you away. He can play horrible. I think there's a good consistency there of like Dak's going to give us the baseline no matter what, and it might not be what you're really looking for, but he's going to give us our baseline. Sometimes it's like what you get, and that's
I
it.
think
I don't know.
it's basically how we're rating these things. I think Dak as a regular season quarterback is probably a, around here. It's playoff wins. I mean, we've seen a lot of Dak in the playoffs, and he has not been great in any of them. Even their win, it was kind of mediocre against not a very good Seahawks team. Very run heavy that game. Um, my personally, like I said, I would much rather have Kirk Cousins in a playoff game than Dak Prescott just to throw the ball. But I'm okay. Let's go. We can go Kyler 10, and then we can go Dak 9 as the
Yeah,
ninth.
that's what your consistent list came with anyways.
Yeah,
Um, well, I can't remember what happened to Cowboys playoff game this year.
I
I can't
mean,
remember.
they lost to the Niners, and Dak wasn't great. They were pretty
Oh, that's
mediocre.
right. That's the play in
They
the
were getting
Niners.
beat
That's
pretty
right.
big, and then they had the nice little the rah rah comeback, and then they
Well,
ran the
they screwed something up though, right?
no, they ran the clock out. They didn't get a chance to throw to the end zone. They
Oh,
ran
that's what it was.
the
Yeah, I was like,
slide.
what the yeah,
And that's
yeah,
on Dak. Dak messed that play up. He ran too far.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
they
definitely.
complained about the refs. When it's
Yeah, that
not the
was
refs' fault for calling that play and running that play. And
yeah.
knowing what they're doing. So
That's what happened here. That was bad. That was really bad. Um,
maybe a little dink on that. Maybe. We had a tie here at 7 and 8. I'm very firm on 8. Um, I'm very firm Lamar Jackson 8. That's where I'm putting Lamar. Um, would you agree?
yeah, I'm okay with Russ over Lamar. The only knock on Russ is the antics, off the field antics.
Yeah, and the knock on Lamar is the play and the injuries now.
I think more injuries now. I think Lamar when he was
He was
playing, he was
horrible.
fine.
False. He was horrible this year when he
I
played.
mean, he was banged up. I mean, like
No, early. He had one really good game. I know this because I had to listen to my mother bitch about him every week in fantasy because she was his fantasy quarterback, and he was very.
maybe I'm confused. Yeah,
He had
I'm getting
He had one
confused.
great week where he would torch. I think it was Indy. He torched on like prime time. Like I think it was like a Monday night game
Yeah,
or something, and he torched them. But
yeah.
yeah, really, really.
I would just throw this year out for Lamar. There's a lot going on with that Baltimore team, but I'm okay with 8 and put Russell 7. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so Lamar 8, Russell 7. I
I don't
think
know how. Yeah, what Stafford got thrown to Team Russ. I mean, they're equals at this point. In my opinion.
I'm taking Russell over Stafford. I don't think it's close. That Seahawks
Yeah,
team
that's
is
what I'm saying.
bad. Yeah, that's Seahawks.
That's what I'm getting at here. I mean, like,
Okay, so you want to go
like,
Stafford
throw,
7? You know what? I think we're overselling Stafford because he won the Super Bowl. He was mediocre in that game. He was not. I mean, he wasn't
yeah,
anything
that's it.
crazy.
to go around like after the I didn't mean to cut you off, but the initial thoughts were like Stafford's a Hall of Famer after this, and like I thought a lot of people were going to be on that same bandwagon, but there was not a lot of people on that bandwagon. Were like, oh, he's automatic Hall of Famer. They're like,
well,
maybe not. Let's wait and see.
I have $100 that he's not a Hall of Famer if he doesn't win 2 Super Bowls. So I think that's fair. Obviously, we play in the most stat padding era in football ever. So I think quarterback numbers really can't be looked at after, this era. It's just pass.
That's the only bad thing about like doing lists like this. Sorry, but it's just like to weed them out. You got to do negatives about people, and that's the bad part. It's like we're just bashing everybody. But like if I wasn't a Chiefs fan, I take Russ, I'll take Lamar, take Stafford, like Herbert, all these people. Like it's like if I didn't have Mahomes, so like don't get me wrong, I think all these quarterbacks are really good, but I mean, I think to whittle down the list, you gotta go with the negative.
I think we have a good. Because we tiered it off. So like I think that last tier, the Dak, Cousins, Kyler, Carr tier will get you in the playoffs. Maybe win you a game. Like that. This tier is probably get you in the playoffs. Maybe get you a bye or some sort. Get you a bye. Probably win you a game, maybe not. I mean, Lamar maybe is the biggest thing because he hasn't been very good in the playoffs. He has one playoff win against Tennessee.
Yeah, this is like we're now getting a tier of like guys who can just like legit hear you, make up for wrongs. Your offensive line's horrible.
Defense
now
isn't great.
Your defense isn't great. Your court, like one of your receivers is hurt now. They're making up for that. Just different things that go on. Other than like, I think the guys below probably like. The situation is perfect; they can do it. But now we're talking about the situation is not perfect, and you're asking them to take a little bit more on their plate. And like these guys are like, cool, yeah, we can take it.
These are different. These are difference makers.
Yeah, exactly.
That we're in the difference maker tier. Like you said, the Stafford thing. He was bad in the playoffs until this year. He was, he had good moments. I really wish they didn't call that that holding penalty on 3rd and goal, and I could have got a crack at 4th and goal with Stafford to let's really see what the big balls are. 1st and goal at the half-inch line. I'm not really impressed that you threw a touchdown to Cooper Kupp. Like that's easy. At that point, so I would have really liked to see that play. Unfortunately,
I do like what he did though. He did play great ever since when OBJ got hurt. He didn't play good until that final drive, and then he turned it on. So I was really impressed by that.
They moved, but it was a lot of dink and dunk. Like I said, we know Stafford to throw the ball downfield, and they were petrified to throw the ball downfield. It was the one
they couldn't. They couldn't. Van Jefferson wasn't running past anyone, and Cooper Kupp was getting like pretty much just beat up throughout. I mean, just like off the line wherever he ran, they really had no option. And I don't really think like props to him for throwing to some of those guys. You got to, I guess, if they're open, but I'd be scared to throw some of these guys.
When Eli Apple's guarding somebody, you're always open. That's pretty safe.
Yeah. You can tell that they need that second receiver for sure.
Yes.
I mean, Van Jefferson's good, but he isn't.
He's not. He can't catch unless he's wide open. Van Jefferson cannot catch unless he's wide open.
I think his hands are pretty good, but he's not running past people. I feel like I kept throwing him deep on him. Like, why are we like? I'm not.
No, they threw him a couple. They threw him a couple. 10-yard outs that were contested or slant or drags, and if they were contested, he wasn't catching them. I didn't think about that, but maybe now. He had a lot on his mind. Who knows? So I think we'll go Lamar 8, Stafford 7.
Russ, yeah. I mean, like as much as like the antics of Russ, like see how like we had Russ. I mean, Riley had Russ in the fantasy down the stretch, and he came through like without a doubt. I mean, the only reason why he didn't score more points is because they just had blowouts and it didn't matter. But the TL team is bad. I mean, he does have weapons, but in general, the team's pretty bad. So I don't understand. Like they both got a Super Bowl now. Russ has been to 2. The only truly only negative is the antics with Russ. Like that's really it. I mean, and he's kind of corny, but like you just deal with some of the stuff with your quarterbacks. If we went down this list where everyone has like some off the field type of issue that's kind of annoying. Maybe not all of them, but like they all have some like we go like there's
you're like
Mahomes.
I mean,
Mahomes has his brother and his sister. Like Josh Allen, I don't really know what Josh Allen.
Josh Allen got nothing.
Josh Allen got nothing. Like luckily for him, he has nothing going on right now. But like Maybe Josh Allen's got like a coin flip. Like he doesn't know how to choose right heads or tails. Like whatever. Rogers. Rogers is like Rogers, a prima donna. Joe Burrow. Like I honestly I like Joe Burrow's like mentality and everything. So like it's not much.
He doesn't have off the field stuff really, Burrow. I don't
He's
think.
not off the field stuff, but like I don't know, blah. But like Justin Herbert. Um,
Ho-
I don't think that-
Let's be honest though, Stafford could easily have this off the field stuff. He has to be traded. Detroit just did him a solid. He did demand to be traded last year.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, he demands to be traded. I mean, yeah. So I mean, like they all have their like. I'm sure there's stuff people can figure out about all these guys. Like it's really annoying that we maybe don't really know about it to the deeps because we're not close to those fan bases. But yeah, I got Russ 6, and I put Stafford 7, Lamar 8. That'd be my list. You know, I mean, Matt can't get mad at us. He likes Russell and Matt Stafford.
He's infatuated with Matt Stafford. All right. So now we're in the top 5. These are your difference makers. These guys are gonna win you. You're gonna win because of these guys. Maybe 4 and 5 aren't quite as good as the top 3, but they're also a lot younger than the top 3. These next 2 here. Number 5. I'm good with going with Justin Herbert right here. I love everything I see from Justin Herbert. His best games are his primetime games. His numbers are absurd in primetime. By far his best games. Huge arm, athletic, can move. And I know they lost that Raiders game. I'm blaming his piece of shit coach for that one. I mean, they were down a lot, and he carried them to tie that game and get it to overtime. So for me, I think Herbert's great here at 5.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. The only thing I don't like about this top 5 list is that 4 out of 5 are AFC quarterbacks. So my team.
It's about to be 5 out of 5. If you don't.
Yeah, it could easily be 5 out of 5, and 3 out of 5 are in the same division.
Tough.
It could, yeah, it can be tough. Like I think honestly, we haven't talked about it, but I think that the time's over. The run's over for the Chiefs. But to get back to Justin Herbert, yeah, I agree. I think he's absolutely stud. I really enjoy watching him. The only bad part, like I said, he's on the Chargers, and like
it's tough.
It sucks. Tough watching him, but I really do like. I am a fan of his. Except when he plays the Chiefs, and he's terrifying to play against. I think that's the feeling people get when they have to play against Mahomes, and I get the same feeling when I play against Justin Herbert, because at any point in time, they could do something, and you're like, "Oh my god!" You're just like, "Oh."
You've had a lot of the same. So you've had a lot of the same feeling. You know, you had the Alex Smith years where it was more the Kirk. You know, he's at the Kirk Cousins level right there, where he's gonna get you, win you games, get you the playoffs, but then maybe in the playoffs, you know, there's some limiting factor if the things aren't perfect for him. And now you got, you know, Mahomes, who's pretty damn good. I love it. It's Brady and Manning, and you're gonna be miserable at looking at Brady and Manning, hopefully in the same division. But I don't think anything would change if you just get it twice a year instead of once a year.
Yeah, exactly. And then you sprinkle in Josh Allen every once in a while too. I mean,
probably every year.
Pretty much.
It's looking
probably every year.
Josh Allen on top of that.
And the scary thing about Justin Herbert is that although you think his coach is dumb, but he's willing to go for it and work down from anywhere. And when you have Justin Herbert, I feel like fourth downs are just like, you know, they're pretty they have like the good odds.
Joe Burr, you know, Big Dick Joe. What can you say about him? I mean, he's everything. I said it when he was coming out. He's everything Baker Mayfield thought he was, and he's not. This is the perfect line of confidence and cocky. His attitude is everything. I think he's okay talent-wise. I think Herbert's a much better talent than him from a quarterback standpoint. I would put him, you know, in the middle tier here. I don't know. He has potential. He's old, though. He's 25. It's not like he's that young for a young quarterback. I think Russell's probably as talented, if not more talented, than Burrow, especially throwing a deep ball. But it's a lot of X factor with Joe.
Joe's that deep ball's come a lot for him. I think that was a problem when he first came in, but it's come a lot for him a little bit. I mean, he throws a deep ball at Jamar Chase like somebody's business. Like,
it doesn't hurt. You throw it. That catch in the Super Bowl. Holy shit! Like what?
Yeah,
that wasn't a good throw.
I mean, he does it to T. Higgins too. I mean, I know these guys are good. Don't get me wrong, but he throws a pretty that one-on-one sideline deep ball. I will never understand why people still leave Jamar Chase one-on-one. There's a lot of other things that could hurt me in that field, and I would not let Jamar Chase be one of them.
fair.
I know Jaylen Ramsey, so I was like, okay, that's fine. But like the Chiefs did it, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Did we not watch last game? Like, I don't get it. I didn't get it. I don't understand it. And if
I mean,
someone could explain to me in the comments, I'd appreciate it.
And even Jaylen Ramsey ate his lunch. What is he, 160? He gave up in the Super Bowl most in his career. So even that wasn't good enough for Jaylen. This is big. Joe, this talks about, I mean, Cincinnati's offensive line is horrible. Pass protection. Decent run game, though, so that helps out a little bit. But goddamn, Joe got murdered this year. 70 sacks, got killed in the playoffs, and he just keeps coming. I think Joe's a psychopath, and in the best way possible. He's a crazy person. And I think the Bengals are afraid of him. Like, you know, a lot like, oh, we won our first playoff game in like 30 years or whatever. A lot of teams would be happy with that. And then, you know, you get bounced in the second round against Tennessee or whatever because, you know, they actually won a playoff game. And Joe Burrow is a crazy man. He said, no, we're going to keep winning. And they just keep winning. So I like it a lot. I could see Herbert jumping Burrow here. Again, recency bias does play into this, I think. But they're close. They're close. They're both young. A lot of bright future for them.
Burrow made it to a Super Bowl, so that's a big thing. I think we're just looking. But I don't want to talk down the Cincinnati team, but I don't know if they're just jumping back to get back there so soon.
Oh no!
Some people would think they are. No. I don't say it's a fluke deal, but like the cards definitely fell in their favor.
They did, but they have a lot of money. They could go sign a couple of big offensive linemen, and that'll help.
Oh, they do. They have a lot of money.
They have. I think they're like third or fourth. They're like third or fourth in cap. They got to re-sign Jesse Bates at safety. Very strong on the back end. They got to sign some corners and some offensive linemen, and then draft one. You know, and you could probably get a decent offensive lineman or corner at the back end of the draft. So there's a lot of potential for this.
Potential,
yeah. All right, so now we're in the top three. We're in the top three. And this is the big ones. These are your boys. These are the guys that'll win you a game.
1 second.
All right.
1 second. Before we jump to top three. If Deshaun was healthy, fine. Where is he at in this list? Real quick.
Healthy, fine. No.
Not like Deshaun pre-2019 or whatever.
Or 2020, say like after last year, before the end of the offseason, before the end. I would probably I would have had him at like 4 or 5. Now I'd probably have him at like 6. He was 4-12 with that Houston team. We just saw Davis Mills go 4-12 with that Houston team. His number.
Stats.
No, his numbers are Kirk Cousins' numbers. I mean, the rushing is the only difference between him and Kirk Cousins passing, and that helps for a lot.
But didn't he lead the league in passing that year?
No, I think he fell off. He fell off late again. He's a 500. He's a 500 career quarterback. Had Hopkins, and we see what Hopkins can do for anybody, really.
But all these guys got somebody though.
Yeah,
let's not pull that card.
Well, no, I'm saying, and they played in a terrible division. Let's not act like the NFC South was any sort of good. I mean, Bill O'Brien, butt chin, won the division like 3 times. So I'd put him at like 6. I think he's below Herbert, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I like what I see from Herbert more.
Yeah, I think he's better than Joe, to be honest with you.
You're putting him at so you'd put him at 4?
Yeah, I would split him and Justin.
Well, he's just a 500. The problem is he's a 500 quarterback and has 1 playoff win.
Like, yeah, but before this year, Joe Burrow was the same thing, probably.
Well, no, Joe Burrow was only in a second. This is his first full year, Joe Burrow, and he won 3 playoff games. So Watson's been there. Watson also blew a 24-0 lead, or was it 24-3 lead against Kansas City? Like, that's partially on him.
But but he's also going against number 1 quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah, but he was going against, as you say, a bad defense, and you'd think you'd be able to protect that lead.
I would have Deshaun in top 5, and that would. I don't know where it would go. We'd have to debate it more, but I think he'd be top 5.
Okay, that's fair. All right, so now we're at the top 3. These seem to be the clear 3. Like, there was a large gap between the averages out. So Joe Burrow ranked 4 on the list of like the guys, and he was like a 4.5 for his rank. The next 3 was like 3.1, 2.4, 1.5. So I think everybody had these 3, and they had them pretty solidly in their spots. For this, number 3. I gotta go with Rodgers, right?
Yeah, I agree. Rodgers.
Um,
Um,
there's a lot.
yeah, I mean,
There's a
there's
lot.
a there's a lot. I mean, yeah, I like Rodgers. I think the only reason why we got him at 3 is what his age is written
Um,
on this.
age, his offseason. I mean, god damn it, the off the field stuff is so annoying. The shit the last week and a half or so we've had. Oh, I'm gonna post this emotional Instagram post. It seems like I'm leaving or retiring, and then says, "No, I just went through a decleanse." Whatever,
He
man.
did break off his engagement with
I
the
thought
girl.
I did think that was the thing for like, but you can't really. There's a difference. You have 30 million followers. You can't necessarily post all that stuff. There's some rumors they're back together. I heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like there were rumors that I don't know. I don't know. And then he talked about the COVID vaccine stuff. Like I hurt people with my decisions. It's just always something with Rodgers. He's always in the news. He likes being in the news.
I
He
think he's trying to get back into good graces because everyone thinks he's like I think he's trying to win and go back the other way, like trying to win people over.
maybe, but I think he just likes being a superstar. If Rodgers could choose to be a Hollywood actor instead, I think he would. Instead of an NFL quarterback,
No,
I feel like he wants to be famous.
and an act like in an actor role as NFL quarterback. I think that would make him happy, right?
he play he he plays
It's like great.
He plays Tom Brady in the movie about Tom Brady.
Yeah, it
um,
doesn't make him very happy.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's just that guy. Dock him for the off-field stuff. He hasn't been to the Super Bowl in a decade. That's not great. He's been to one Super Bowl and won one, and it was a good, run. How many home one seeds has he blown and not played well in those games?
yeah. I mean, a few for the last couple of years.
So I think this is a clear one. Now we're in the
But he's
spot.
still
Oh,
scary.
he's scary. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
scary.
he's still scary.
Is he scary in a playoff game? Maybe not so much.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
he's scary. Yeah, and I'd like to see what he does. Maybe Devontae Adams might have raced a lot of stink with Aaron Rodgers. Potentially, we thought that was such a massive win this year when they went to Arizona and won without their receivers, but Arizona, turned out to be a dud kind of again.
I mean, he also got very lucky.
This is true. Kyler made a bad throw on top of AJ Green not running a good route. So
Yeah.
So there's that. Now we got 1 and 2. We gotta go. I've had some other people, move this around. There was some movement here. I'm firm with going Josh Allen number 2. Here.
Yeah, I think when it gets down to it, because these you can, I'll be honest, you could go either way. You get defensive because obviously I'm a Chiefs fan, like whatever. But I see Josh Allen being 1, and I'm okay with it. Whatever, some list or some people say that, but I really do think when it gets down to it, as much like Josh Allen just really hasn't beat Patrick when it mattered.
He tried his hardest. He really did.
Yeah, he did. He really did try his hardest, and like that sucks. But like at the end of the day, like he hasn't done it when it mattered, and that's the only thing that I think that kind of holds him down. And once he beats Patrick, I'm happy to, or he gets the Super Bowl, I'm happy to put him above Patrick. That's how I whole honestly feel about it. I do think. I guess I watch the Chiefs through a different lens than most people, but there's like top 3 scariest people like you have to watch against, and Josh Allen's by far number 1 for me. Dude can run and throw the ball, and it's like, though triple get him, ball start. I want something negative. Help me out. It's wild. It's so wild. But like he's so good. He really is. And he like when I thought they were out of it, it was like 4th and like 37 or something ridiculous. Just throws a dart, and it's just he's always gonna have his team in it, and those are gonna be good for a long time. So
I mean, he was a little roller coastery this year. He's been known as a little bit up and down, up and down. When it mattered most, obviously he had the perfect playoff game against the Patriots, against the number 1, number 2 ranked defense in the league. Absolutely destroyed them. That was huge. Obviously, was been to AFC Championship game. You wish that would have been the I think they easily beat the Bengals if they got the Bengals in the second round. If the Chiefs had gotten that 1 seed and they would have had to play the Titans or something like that, I don't think the Bengals beat that Bills team. Just because of the Bills defense to go with Josh Allen offense.
Yeah, I
Um,
do think the Bills defense are a little more. This is way better than I do. Not to cut you off, I think the Bills are more like the most complete team. I just think their luck has not gone their way.
it's been the what do you mean? That's the luck of the Buffalo Bills, man. They're one of those franchises that have that luck. It's very unfortunate that they couldn't play defense for 13 seconds. Um, just when it seems like you were out. Josh Allen, obviously, the insane game against Kansas City. He's got to beat the Chiefs. They're now his. You don't want to say kryptonite, but that's the hump to get over. Um, you got to beat him. No MVPs is going to dock him, so I think that puts him firmly at 2. He has gotten better every year, which is very, very promising. He's entering the prime of his career. You hope the durability doesn't become an issue just because of the way he runs. He's got the big frame.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we saw
Interesting
Cam.
to see what goes without Brian Dable.
That's true.
Interesting to see how that
Lost his
got.
offensive coordinator, has a defensive head coach. We saw Cam break down rapidly, but then again, Cam can't throw like Josh Allen, and it's not close
No.
by any stretch. So that's going to help him keep him better. I mean, he had Stephon Diggs, but he didn't even need Stephon Diggs, really. He was doing it with other guys like Gabriel Davis, average receiver. Cole Beasley, solid, but he's nothing.
I think the offense was like ridiculously well put together. And like I said, I think that's the biggest. I think Josh is gonna be great, but I think losing that Brian Dable, and I'm sure they just promote the next guy up. It's gonna be the biggest thing. That it's kind of. It's to me, it seemed like a wide open offense. He was just throwing the ball wherever he wanted to. And they got a little run game going. So
if they can get any run game going, like it started to get a little bit, but if they can get get a run game going, I think they're in great shape. Yeah, I could see them drafting a running back high this year.
You think they wasted on that? I think they need some other help, like a D line or a linebacker or something. I don't know. I thought their defense is pretty solid too.
Yeah, the defense ranked number 1 statistically, essentially, coming into the season or by the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see. That's a team that has moves to make, but they're real close. So number 1. Obviously, we got to go with Mahomes. 2 Super Bowl appearances. Yes, 2 Super Bowl appearances, a Super Bowl win, MVP. Mahomes makes plays like nobody else can make. Like with his arm, the only thing that's given us hesitancy, he blew a 21-point lead essentially.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
In the AFC Championship game, he played really bad in the second half, and I think that's the first time we've ever seen Mahomes play bad in a playoff game, like really bad. He wasn't great in the Super Bowl until the fourth quarter, last 10 minutes, and he makes Mahomes. But yeah, Tyreek on third down, and he makes an insane throw. The only thing, the off the field stuff is starting to get concerning. His brother and his fiance are cancer. Not just like a little annoying, they are cancer for him. And you can see a man that is broken. You see social media videos. Social media videos posted. It looks like he's a man down bad sometimes when he's dealing with those two. So that's concerning for me. Honestly, I know you're going to be very, cautious on this since he's your quarterback and stuff like that. And you're down. But you went to 2 Super Bowls. The offensive lines haven't been great. The defenses haven't been great. You won the Super Bowl. He won an MVP. Mahomes has played 4 seasons and been to the AFC Championship game every year, and hosted all 4. Now you wish he was, 3-1 and not 2-2. But yeah, you can't. I mean, the first one you lost to Brady, you lost to the overtime rule. You got that back this year against the Bills. And yeah, he had the ball in overtime to even erase the Bengals comeback. And he threw the pick, and it was not a good pick. So hopefully, I am a little worried. You haven't seen, progression. He was already at the top, it felt like, and he hasn't gotten like exponentially better. So that's
we saw a little progression this year.
Little,
from the beginning of the year of him like learning how to just take what he's been given, because the offense looked different. I think anybody can tell you that it looks different. They just towards the end of the year, they try to figure out, hey, let's take what people are giving us. So they're giving us 8-yard routes here. Let's take this.
We're going to be
patient. That's the progression. I think that's the progression that we've seen, and not like the big wow stuff that you really can just tell right away. And I think that's a small progression we saw. And I think that's going to have to be the progression going forward. I think he is going to have to I think the next progression is really between the ears for him. To be honest with you, I think everything on the field is he's got that. I don't want to say figured out, but
But
he's pretty solid there. But to really understand, like, hey, like when he asked for the ball on that fourth down at the goal line or before the half, and there's 3 seconds left, you got to know I can't throw this ball to Tyreek Hill. Let me throw it in
yep,
the back of the stand.
just
Like
or
that is
dirt
the
it,
stuff of like,
just dirt it, and
yeah,
kick a
that's
field
like
goal.
if you ask for the play, just know you got to know like, hey, if this isn't here, like if I'm going to Kels and this isn't here, okay, Kels is not open, I'm throwing it back in the zone and we're
Mhm.
taking it to the field goal. I think the whole game is different, and I think that really kind of got into his head going into
Um,
halftime. To kind of see that coming out.
a little bit, and I'd like to see, they said Bieniemy had more hands in on the offense, and the offense really struggled early. It took a while. Teams are going to play them back. They're going to take away big plays and make them go down the field. If he can do that, that's fine. Like you said, get in the lab, start, working on reading defenses a little bit better.
Mahomes
That's
is one I could be okay with. You said Josh Allen won both.
I
I
can't give
won't
it to a
fight you
guy
at
who
all.
doesn't. I can't give it to a guy who doesn't have a ring. Mahomes got a ring. Like that's simple.
Fair enough.
And like I said, he's never not been in the conference championship game. He's on pace to break Brady's record for conference championship games and Super Bowl appearances. He's at 50-50 at this point. 100% conference championship game, 50% Super Bowl. That's insane. He was, I mean, Christ. It looked like he was about to be three in a row, 3 out of 4 Super Bowls. So I think you have to give it to Mahomes.
Yeah, I
So
think
yeah,
they're luck turning out though.
yeah,
That's okay.
I think it's
I think
pretty.
it's over.
I think we're in a pretty good place as far as the NFL and quarterbacks. I know I had a terrible take. I had a terrible take years ago where I thought we were never going to get another good quarterback ever again in the NFL because of the way college offenses were going, and I was completely wrong. And it's it's okay. I'm
Really watching a new regime come in right from our eyes.
Yeah, it's amazing. We saw Ben's gone, Brady's gone, Rivers, Manning the last few years, Breeze, obviously. Rodgers is teetering on the edge, and it's Russell Wilson now becomes the elder statesman in the room at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, really, we take Rogers is at the top of the list, Russ in the middle, and Matt Ryan is the bottom. Yeah, it's just like all these, the top 10 are like really younger guy staffers in there
Wait,
mixed in there, I guess as well. But
I I do
yeah, we
want
got
to
a new age group.
I do want to add a little bonus here. Where would you have put Brady if Brady didn't retire? If Brady was playing next year, where would you have Brady?
Oh man, um, out of res- out of respect, Brady's what top 5 no matter what, right? Just out of respect, like
I think I'm having him ahead of Rodgers. I thought he was better than Rodgers this year. Honestly, I did.
yeah,
Um,
I mean everything like obviously his receivers start going down like left and right, but
and he still played. I mean, again,
really well.
another defense that shit the bed at the end of the game. I mean, he did have another comeback. Um,
Yeah, I'd put Brady somewhere in the top 5. Like it'd be interesting to see. I mean,
yeah, that's the list. I like it. I think we're in great hands, like you said. The young generation's coming up. The young pups. Maybe we'll be back next. We'll be back next year. Break out another top 10, maybe a top 10, top 15 list. But
Jalen Hurts making our list next year if we're
I don't
down.
know about that. Jalen Hurts ain't gonna be the quarterback of the Eagles next year. So,
No, yes he is. He's the
no,
starting quarterback next year.
no,
He's gonna be on our list next year.
no,
Mark
no,
that
no, no.
down.
No,
Mark that.
he's
Stamp this down in the pod right here.
all right. So that's gonna do it for us today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How did we do on our list? Top 15 quarterbacks in the NFL. Are we totally wrong? I think a lot of you are gonna agree with this list. I feel really good about it. Thought it was a great episode. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, share this video with your friends. It really helps the channel out a lot. We are growing like crazy, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.